WX2T, hello, guys.
Yeah, hey, Rick, how you doing, WX2T? I just recognized WX2T, just writing it down. Yeah, no, it sounds great. It looks fantastic on the display. So, and you got a live stream. Great. I'll have to check that out later. Hopefully it'll still be up there. Yeah, very
Sorry,
good. Now,
no audio.
when you feed that in to the Anon, do you use a VAC or a CM audio, or do you go in analog? I doubt you go in analog. Probably VAC, but I was just curious. And then you can send it over to Rick.
Check. Oh, it's all VAC. And there's no analog. The only analog is the microphone cable into the mixer. So it's all VAC. I'm running a buffer of 256 on in Thetis, in the DAW, in the mixer, and it's a very the preamps on this thing, Ron. I'm gonna say it wrong. Hold on, because I never heard of them before. So I want to see if I want to preamps. What are they called? Oh my God! Stutter. STUDER. I have never used a preamp that is so quiet. When I key into the Anon, even without a noise gate, there's nothing in the audio spectrum. It is clean as a whistle. And good evening, Rick.
Okay. Wow. Completely digital. Well, I know I always say the same damn thing, but you always sound good, and Ron, you always sound good too. For me to pick up any kind of subtle differences, I would honestly have to do an AB. But man, when you said Ron, and then you waited for like a second until the next syllable or the next word, I heard that ambient, the reverb, and it sounded great. It just sounds beautiful. So that's all I wanted to say. And you got all the stuff running, VAC and this and that, digital and everything. I just want to let you guys know that, not being as audio oriented and state of the art and what have you, I have a very, very unique
Hello, Mark. I just
audio device here, and it's called the Orgasmatron. If you remember that device that Woody Allen used in the Sleeper, that's what I'm using. Anyhow, I don't want to engage too much in any kind of trivial frivolities. I just wanted to inject a little bit, maybe a little bit of comic relief, but no, but it's a testament to your hard work, and Ron, you too. You guys do a great job. I mean that sincerely. I commend you. My hat's off to you. I'm kind of jealous too. I just I don't have the impetus for it. Too many other things going on, but I just wanted to pop in, say hello. You guys continue, and Ron, thank you for. I believe it looks like from the email you forwarded to me Ed's NP2G's obituary, which I thought was a very, very telling, great testament to his life, and I'm glad I had the opportunity not to meet him in person, but to meet him on the air and have some nice conversations with him. Or QSOs, as they say in ham radio parlance, WB2RON, WX2T with the group.
Yeah, okay, Rick, very good. WX2T from WB2RON. Yeah, I remember that Woody Allen movie. I think it was from the early 70s, I believe. I sent it to 4 people, and then, assuming that, or, figuring maybe you guys would send it along to other people that may have known Ed. But, I've been looking out daily for an obituary, been checking it out, because I figured that one would pop up, and it did last night, and it was very well written. It was very nice. So, anybody that, I found it by just doing a Google search. with his call sign, not his call sign, his name and location. So, yeah, it was very, very nice. Well, let's see, what else can I add at this point? Not a whole lot, but yeah, okay, Doug, very good. You are using VAC. Do you get any overruns, underruns, or faults or anything like that? And did you ever look into trying CM audio in lieu of VAC? It's just another way to route digital audio without having to go through the virtual audio. Have you looked at that at all, Doug? Go ahead.
So I have run, well, first of all, I don't get any overflows or underflows. And I think that's a testament to whatever device's ASIO driver you're using. But I really never got them with anything else. With the PreSonus interface, the Scarlett interface. I've got a bunch of them here. And then you asked me CM ASIO. So I've used CM ASIO. I can't use it with this. So this is not one of the ASIO drivers. I believe his name is John, who does the coding for that. This is not one of the ASIO drivers that gets recognized. So maybe in the future. It'll be able to work, but for now I'm stuck with VAC. But it's fine because this mixer has 32 in and outs USB. So and as you know, Thetis only sees USB channel 1 and channel 2. So I don't have to use Voicemeeter. I don't have to use any of that. Because for all the other like OBS, the streaming software, Windows Sound, any of that other stuff, I have coming into the mixer on different channels. So basically the mixer is my Voicemeeter. So yeah, so I'm using VAC. I have no issues with it. It runs flawless. KB2 UKA.
What do you mean it only sees USB 1 and 2?
With ASIO, Thetis only sees USB 1 and 2. You could run WDM or MME, and you'll see all the device's channels, but then you'll sacrifice latency and performance, I believe. But you want to use the device's ASIO driver that was made specifically for that device. So, for example, there's 32 in and outs on this ASIO driver, but Thetis will not let you select what channel you want to use with ASIO. It'll only hear 1 and 2.
Oh, roger that. Yeah, I can't get an ASIO driver for my microphone.
And you're using a USB mic, right?
Yeah, I'm using an AT2020 USB Plus.
Yep, okay. And you can't get it, why? Because you're not on Windows? Is that why?
No, I'm on Windows, but they don't make such an animal.
I see. Okay. Well, your only other option but then you're adding something, would be to use an interface that has an ASIO driver. But I don't think you have any. Do you have latency that you can detect?
No, it's pretty low, but it's part of my problem. It uses the default Microsoft driver. I think something's funky.
Yeah. So, What mic? What model mic is that again?
The AT2020 USB Plus.
And hello, Mike.
The same thing as a 2020, but it's got built-in digitizer.
That's the Audio Technica?
Roger.
Is that dynamic mic?
No, it's a condenser.
That's why you got all that background noise. Did you ever think of trying a dynamic mic with a cardioid pattern?
Yeah, I'm not going to mess around with an interface. The reason this appeals to me is I just plug it in a USB port.
Yeah. Of course, you use a dynamic mic, you can buy a a low-cost interface like a Behringer or maybe a Focusrite or a Moto 2, which is a little more money, and then you'd be able to use an ASIO driver, and at the same time you wouldn't have all that background noise. It would greatly reduce it. Just mentioning that.
Yeah, no, I got a Behringer. I've had one for like 12 years.
What, the interface?
Yeah, Roger.
So you just need a dynamic mic with an XLR plug.
Well, you could get a dynamic USB.
I got a 781. I plugged that into that Behringer, and it doesn't have enough gain. So I'd have to dump more money into a cloud lifter. I mean, I'm not going down this hole. I don't want all this crap.
Okay, Mike, I understand. Okay, just curious, that's all. Yeah, go ahead, Doug.
The old hole.
Yes. Well, first of all, I'm shocked that there's not a driver for this mic. That's why I asked you what it was again. I just wanted to see for myself. I can't believe it's a USB mic and Audio-Technica didn't release a driver for it. Another option, and I don't know the efficacy of it, how well it'll work. You could try ASIO for All and see if it'll recognize the mic. You could give that a shot. Then, you don't have to use an audio interface or anything. Just see if that ASIO for All driver will pick up the mic, which I think it would. And then your other option, which, you'd have to dump money into it, but not much. You could probably get a dynamic USB mic.
They're around. There's no doubt about it. I've seen them online. I just can't remember which manufacturers, but yeah, you're right, man. I'll tell you, Doug, I just crank things wide open here. The gain from the radio, driving the Denon amplifier into the Bozaks, into the Minimus 10s, and the whole room is just, it's lighting up. I am literally in the Orgasmatron.
Good evening, Ricky.
Hello.
Yeah, Bob here, K3AC.
I recognize the overtones. Yeah, Bob, good to hear you.
Yeah, same here. I don't know who you're talking to. Did you go 4KC wide?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did that a while ago.
Roger. I remember mentioning that your radio was capable, and you were kind of resistant to that, but congratulations.
Well, yeah, I don't know if it made a hell of a lot of difference, but I switch back and forth. I'm doing other things, DXing and what have you. I narrow it down.
What's up, Steve?
All right. Well,
Thank you.
Hope it sounds pretty good for... It is. I hate to use this cliche. It is what it
interesting, John.
Well,
USB-C
I made
and
my
XLR.
Pretty good for Yahoo.
KC, and you are sounding. This is K3AC. My name is Bob, and I'm in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, for those who may care.
Hey, Bob.
Yeah, hey, Bob, K3AC WB2RO1. Did you do something with your audio? It sounds a little bassier than I remember.
I am on my Kenwood 890. I'm on probably a little bit more responsive mic. It's a Heil PR30.
30?
Yeah, okay, because it sounds a lot different than what I'm used to. There's a lot of bass in this one.
Hey, Bob, they made a 30? I know they have a 40 in my 781 here. They made a 30?
Yes, they did. It looks similar to the PR40. The PR40 has a little bit more bottom end. This is probably a little bit better for sideband. PR40 is used, well, I'm not in the audio business, but from what I understand, it's used professionally. And I have a PR40, and I would probably sound even bassier there. How you doing, Ron?
Yeah, not too bad. Didn't recognize your voice right away, so that's why I was asking. Yeah, pretty good. Just, hanging out and listening to all of the talk here.
Not trying to sound, but
you're on the Kiwi job, so you're hearing everything.
Did
That's
they
great.
ever finally count their votes down where you are?
They had to do I assume you're talking about the Senate race. They were required by law to do a recount because the difference was less than, 1% or a 10% or whatever the heck it was. It triggered it. But the Democrat, Casey, the incumbent, he conceded before. So I think they completed it, but whatever the outcome was, the Republican won.
Yeah, okay. Well, I knew it was a knockout, drag-out fight, so to speak. Well, anyhow, the whole election and all of its different strata, from the presidential election on down, would not have been the showcase it was unless we had some dissension in the ranks or some kind of a quote-unquote malady or whatever, something that occurred. But I don't think the problem lies or laid with the equipment, with the computers. I think it was more, and I'm not saying just in your jurisdiction either, but it had a lot more to do with the operators.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, he was the incumbent for a long time. He was, senator, the Democratic one. We had a Republican one that Toomey that retired, and he did not. The different advertisements, they were knocking some of the things he did or didn't do, and of course, the Republican, he was originally from PA, but he ran a hedge fund and became, I guess, a multimillionaire or billionaire and had a big estate living up in Connecticut. So that's what he was being attacked for being like a carpetbagger, not living in Pennsylvania, although he was from here originally, I think Western Pennsylvania. But anyway, Casey, his father was governor for many years here, and he was a senator here for a long time. So, hey, we'll see what happens. I think he pretty much, got in because he, running on the coattails of Trump.
KB2 UKA at the 40. And Rick, after it goes around, I want to respond to something you said.
Okay, I'm just no. I agree with you, Bob. Yep. Okay. Go ahead, Doug.
So first of all, hello, Bob. I'm in here. Ron's in here. Mike's in here, and obviously Rick. Hope you're doing well, Bob. So what I've found, Rick, playing with this audio stuff for going on now 5 years, and I keep learning with each dollar I spend. I think the most important aspect of this, at the end of the day, like you could have this piece of rack gear, this plug-in, that plug-in, this piece of rack gear. I think the preamp and the microphone, those tones that you're hearing. So I'm not on that Rode Classic mic anymore. I'm back on the RE27. I think there might have been something wrong with that mic since I got it. And I think it was suppressing the high end. I was able to see it on the pan adapter. And just for, shits and giggles, I would boost the high end a lot. And I wasn't getting lift or balance in the spectrum. So when I got the Soundcraft, I said, let me build the profile with the RE27. And the quality of the preamp and the quality of the microphone, the tone that each microphone has, I think is the complete foundation of how the audio is going to transmit. And then all the other stuff, the EQ, the compression, and where you add it, where you don't add it, that's all just massaging the good preamp and the good microphone. Over?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, no, I'm not doing the same thing that you guys are doing, and you know that. But I am an audio guy. I'm an audiophile, but with music and I used to say in the old days, hi-fi. And you know my background, for whatever the hell it's worth. I wasn't an engineer, but I had a good idea of what good quality sound should be. I spent enough time in studios and sound rooms and everything, and I was in sales with Pioneer. I think I have a pretty damn good ear. But I think you're right. You're spot on, as they say, spot on. I think the microphone, which is suited for, or not engineered for, but matched. That's the right word. The proper microphone that's matched to a particular person's voice, to match or to pick up or to relay that person's frequency response is important. So that's the first point in the chain, right? So
it is.
I think you're right, and everything else is just enhancement. And well, you've proved that, but I think you're right. And there's microphones, and then there's microphones, and there's subtleties, but there's so many microphones out there that are on par. They're pretty damn good, and there are subtle variations between a lot of very, very good microphones. So that's very hard to pick up unless you do a lot of A/B comparisons. But it's been said that you can pick up a cheap microphone, dynamic or condenser, whatever, and you can make anybody sound great. I don't know if that's necessarily true. So anyhow, that's it. WX2T.
I think it's true there, Rick. Just listen to Ron. From what I remember, he's using a $25 Behringer, right, Ron?
Well, yeah, I was, Bob. I used it for years, but I actually just switched a month ago. I went over to the Shure SM58. The reason I went over was because I was getting a little funny sound coming out of the Behringer at around 4K, like a rattle or something. I couldn't pinpoint it. I thought at first maybe it was digital overdrive, but I played around with that. And when I switched to another mic, a D104, did not have that. So I figured I would just go over to the SM58 since both mics sound very similar. The only difference being that this microphone is a little cleaner on the low end than that $20 Behringer. But yeah, I did use that up until about a month ago. But I did go over to the SM58.
Guys, excuse me, I got to get out of here. My son stopped by for dinner. He's here, so I'm going to go see what's happening. But good discussion on audio. To be continued, WX2T, 7-3 all.
All right, Rick, good to hear you. 7-3, KB2 UKA.
73, Rick, you sound excellent, guys. I got to go, too. I got to put a steak on the grill there. Hey, nice talking to you, Doug, Ron, Rick, Mike. I didn't speak to you, but have a nice evening, guys. K3AC.
All right, take care.
Stopping by.
Catch your fellas later.
And bye, Mike. Bye, everybody. Ron, are you staying?
Yeah, I'm going to stick around for a few more minutes. Rich was supposed to come on tonight. I don't know what happened. We finalized his EQ last night. We did it offline, and he just had a minor tweak. We finished that. We got it to sound identical, exactly like his rack. Of course, I have recordings from his rack, and it was just a shade off before, and we were able to do a final tweak and make it sound identical. And so he even sent me an email today. He was going to be on here at 5. So he probably got busy with his dog or something. So maybe tomorrow night he'll be on. But yeah, good to hear you, Doug. Always good to hear you. You're always up to something. You're a busy guy with this stuff.
Well, if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards, Ron. That's what I always say. There's one last thing I want to try, but I don't think it's the return on investment is going to be worth it. I just don't, especially with how this sounds right now. The only other thing I was going to try, which would have been I was going to try to pick up an Optimod 9300 AM. And I was going to try to come out of this box into that and then back into the box, into the mixer on another channel and send that to the radio. But I'm running a lot of compression right now. The first stage compression's heavy, and then the multiband compressor is pretty heavy also. So I'm already getting multiband. I know the Optimod does other things with the AGC and all that crap, but I just don't think it's going to sound much better than this. Yeah,
you're really getting down to really fine details now as to whether it's going to sound different. How do you monitor yourself? Just curious. Do you make recordings or you listen to yourself live? How do you do it?
When I'm building it out, I record on the Kiwi SDR. I use the IQ setting. And I just, I'll say a little phrase, I'll listen back, I'll make an adjustment. I'll record again, I'll listen back, I'll make an adjustment. And then, of course, I'm hearing myself right now live, local in the headphones, but that's not transmitted. If I hit the monitor button, which I'm doing right now, which is why I'm slowing down because latency. It sounds good. It sounds good. I just stopped monitoring over the air. So, yeah, that's how I do it. I record it and I listen back to it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Just curious how you do that. I've used various methods, and they're all so close. I've used a monitor the record function in the Anon itself. If you do it properly, you have to reduce.
Check. Oh, okay.
-10. Otherwise, it sounds compressed. I think that's why people don't like using the recorder in the Anon, because the playback is highly compressed. But if you adjust the AGC way down to around between -5 and -10, you get rid of that compression, and it's a pretty good recording. It sounds really good. I've used a dongle which worked, but unfortunately, the dongle that I have is an 8-bit, and the signal-to-noise ratio just isn't there. I've used the Kiwi, and what else did I do? Other methods. For AM, I have a detector on the output of the Anon, which is just an AM detector, and that gives me a very accurate recording, but that's only on AM. I can't use it on sideband. But, between the 3 or 4 different methods, I get a pretty good idea of how it sounds. So, with the Kiwi, I don't always get a great signal out to that. Do you choose a particular time of day and band to use for that?
So, K3FEF, which is in Northeast PA, even at it depends on the conditions. So, on a Saturday morning or late morning, 11:30 or noon, what do you call it? Sometimes I'm too light, and by too light meaning I'm like S8, S9. That's not loud enough. I want to be 25 to 40 over when I'm doing it. But there are other times at 11 o'clock in the morning where I am 40 over into K3FEF. So it depends on the conditions. The other one is there's 3 of them on the Connecticut-Massachusetts border. And that's what they're called. I forgot the call signs, but there's a cluster of 3 of them. And if you hover over them on the map, they say CT/MA border. And on those, I'm pretty, like, I'm 15 to 40 over into those pretty much any time. And you know, sometimes I go up to $72.99, and I do during the day. But then I just got to watch out if anyone's on AM. So if no one's on AM, I go to $72.99. Sometimes I go somewhere in the middle, like somewhere in the 72.70s, in the middle of the day when it's pretty dead. And if I use that Connecticut, Massachusetts border SDR, as long as I'm 20 over minimum, I can hear everything.
Yeah, exactly. It's got to be a strong signal. Yeah, I have a bookmarked here. N1NTE Kiwi SDR. I think that, well, obviously it's in the first district, so that might be one of them. I see it on my, I have a bookmarked here.
That's it.
I usually use the K3FEF Kiwi SDR. But that's all good. Do you have like a local receiver, like a dongle? I mean, a local SDR receiver that you can use?
I do, and I've done that. I have an SDR play, and I feel like the Kiwi's easier. Just go to the website. I don't have to hook up the SDR. I don't have to go through a switch and the dummy load. I ask if the frequency's in use. I say I'm going to be here testing for 20 minutes. Jump in if you need to use a frequency. I get my call. I get my call every minute and a half because I say it every time I transmit. When I'm doing, I'll say, this is KB2 UKA. We're doing a quick recording here. Sugar, Sierra, Salamander, 12345. Hello, radio. I'll do something like that over and over again, and then I'll tweak it.
Yeah. And you were right about using the IQ mode. You had mentioned that to me when you... Hold on, let me make sure I'm on the air here. Yeah, I am. When you sent me a recording, I don't know, 2 months ago or so, something like that. Because you recorded me, and you said I'm going to send you a recording. And you said, it sounds good. And I said, where'd you get it? And you said, from the SDR side. I said, Doug, don't bother.
Yeah, I remember.
And then you said, no, it's going to sound good. It's using the IQ method. And you explained to me exactly how to do that. I was impressed when you sent that to me. It sounded great. So that's what I've been doing too. And you're right, it is much quicker and easier than using the dongle. I went through that. It was kind of a pain to do it. I just wanted to try it. It sounded good, but then the signal to noise ratio and this and that. And I said, it's just easier to use the K3FEF if I want to hear it live. So anyway, you did a great job. It sounds really good, and we'll see what you come up with next month. No, I'm just kidding. But you've always sounded good. I think there was only one time I heard you when I said something's not right, and I knew you would correct it, and you did. You had no punch to the audio. It was lacking highs or something, or mids or something. I don't remember what it was, but I did. That was the only time I ever heard you on here where I said, something is wrong. I think it was the first time you switched away from potato and you went into something else and you didn't have it set up right, but you quickly remedied that. KB2UKA, this is WB2RON for ID.
Well, when we're into audio, KB2UKA, when we're into audio like you are and I am and other people are, we want to be told, like there's going to be nuances that are subjective to us as an individual. Like I might like a little bit more punch in one area than you might like, or I might like my low cut at 50, you might like yours at 70, or somebody might like it at 40. But there's basic stuff that if it's not right, it's not right. And I remember that time, and there was not only was there no punch, I think the low end was muddy, and I think that's when that might have been when I first went back to the analog rack. So if you ever hear anything like that, you let me know, and I'll do the same. I think the next thing I'm going to do, Ron, and it's not really audio related, I'm going to be off for 12 days. Wow, 12 days during Christmas. It's the 12 days of Christmas, except I'm off from Saturday the 21st Not until January 2nd. I really, really want to get every piece of equipment out of this room. And I've been testing it here locally on how to run everything remote. I have an iMac in the shack, and I'll use my PC as quote unquote the server, and I'll log into the iMac and I'll be able to control Thetis. And I'm using two pieces of software. One is called Parsec, Parsec. It's used in the gaming community. That's the remote desktop. That's the software that allows you to take control of the host PC. And then there's another piece of software called Mumble. And Mumble is voice over IP. And that's how you get the audio transmitted remotely. Now, the trick with that is, and this is what I haven't worked out yet, I might have to use Voicemeeter when I'm remote. And here's why. Let's say I go and I buy a USB mic like N2LYM has, right? So I could sit here locally and I can plug that USB mic into my PC and I can EQ it to get it to sound as close to this as possible. I don't know how close it'll be. This is an RE27, but you know what I mean, okay? I then could go upstairs on a laptop and plug that mic into the laptop and then remote into my PC here in the shack. And then by using this Mumble software, I'm able to send that mic feed from upstairs on the laptop to Voicemeeter Banana on the PC. And then I would have Voicemeeter Banana, one of those channels, go into this digital mixer. And then boom, I have all the control of the digital mixer and I have all the control of the DAW. And I can control that from anywhere. But the reason I want to do that is not really to control it from work or from Florida or on vacation. It's to be like a real radio station and have all the equipment in the garage in a air-conditioned server cabinet. That's what I would think the next project is going to be.
Yeah, you're doing a Rube Goldberg. You just talk to your radio over Ethernet direct.
That's quite interesting, Doug. Mumble software. I have to take a look at that.
I hear you, Mike. I'll have a comment in a second.
It's been out. I really never paid much attention to it, but then I saw some demos on YouTube. The Voicemeeter Matrix. I'm just curious if you have ever looked at that, ever tried it, or even have you even heard of it?
I don't think I know what that is. I'm very interested in that. Mike made a comment just now. I want to just reply to him. The reason I want to do it this way, Mike, is because I want to, well, hold on, I'm thinking here. You're right. What I'm mentioning is Rube Goldberging it, okay? And there was a reason I wanted to do it that way, which was audio. But I'm thinking this through right now. This digital mixer is, it's Ethernet control, but I need to USB into the computer. So that would be an issue. So I was thinking maybe I could just have the mixer on the desk, and then just connect. You log into Thetis, and that's it. I'm connecting into the radio. But the reason I wanted to do it the way I just explained to Ron, it allows me to have the same audio remote.
Yeah, Roger. Well, you just talk to the radio over Ethernet, and you can do all the processing on your local PC.
Okay, so have the all right, so have a PC in. Oh wait, that's okay. So I would have to have the PC in the shack and my mixer, my digital mixer / interface. That's all I would need. And then the amp and the radio and the metering, all that can be remote because the meter I have now on the computer anyway. Interesting. Okay. So if I don't want to operate from Florida, then that's probably what you're saying, the cleaner way to do it.
Absolutely. I use what's called a USB server. I have 4 USB ports I could talk to over Ethernet, so I could control everything in the shack from here. And all I have here is a microphone and a PTT switch.
So where is that USB server? Is that at the host or is that at the client where you're sitting?
It's in the shack right next to the radio, and it controls my LP100A, my HF Auto, and my LA1K. And I have an extra port that I can plug anything into it.
Okay. Now, would that also work for an audio interface? That's a USB audio interface?
I've never done that, but I don't know. I guess it would depend on the bandwidth.
All right, that's interesting. Okay. Yeah, so either way, Ron, whether it's the way I said or Mike's way, which seems like it's more appropriate because I'm not trying to remote from a far distance. I think that's the project over Christmas break. I want to get the RF out of this room.
Yeah, that's always a good idea. It's going in the right direction. This voice meter matrix that they have, what they did was they came out with a mixer. It's a multi-band mixer that mixes all the different types of audio streams together. Okay, in other words, you can go from ASIO to anything, or Windows WME to anything else, and it has, I think, like 8 or 16 or 32 channels, depending how you set it up. And it does not have the processing, and that's what they wanted to get away from. Banana and Potato take care of audio processing, along with being somewhat like a matrix, a mixer. This is strictly a multi-channel mixer that they came out with. It's a little complicated. I started looking into it because I thought, well, I do use Voicemeeter Banana for doing some recording certain things, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just use this mixer. But I haven't got the hang of it yet, but I will, I guess, if I pay attention to it. But anyway, just throwing it out there. You may want to look at it. You may find that it's useful, not particularly not for what you're doing now, but maybe for some other application. So that's why I mentioned it.
I wonder, so there is a piece of software for Mac OS called Loopback, and they do not make it for the PC. And I wonder if this Voicemeeter Matrix is similar, and I always wish we had that on PC. So what Loopback lets you do, Ron, and this is why virtual audio on a Mac, I believe, is just cleaner. Loopback lets you create as many virtual devices as you want. So I can plug an audio interface into the Mac, and I can make a virtual device called Transmit Audio, okay? And then I can make another one called DAW Audio, and I can make another one called, OBS Audio, OBS Vocal Audio. And I could create as many of these devices virtually as I want. It takes a second to do. And then you literally drag over, you draw a line from how you want your audio path to go. And the software just does it. And there's no underflows, no overflows, there's no hiccups, there's none of that. And it's clean. And you could do this all with one device. You could have a one-channel audio interface and basically make it as many channels as you want. And I don't know why this hasn't been created for PC yet. Maybe this Matrix software is similar to that.
It might be. Hold on. Hold on. Don't transmit. Hold on. Yeah, okay. All right, so anyway, I pulled it up here. And VB Audio Matrix slots list, for example, physical ASIO device number 1, maximum inputs 128, maximum outputs 128, okay? Or if physical audio ASIO device number 2 is 64 inputs and outputs. Windows input, Windows input, 8 inputs, 8 outputs. Let's see, virtual ASIO driver 1, 8, or driver 2, 128. Driver 3, 64. You have a total of 680 inputs and 680 outputs. So this may be doing exactly what you're talking about.
It is. I just looked at it. Hold on. I want to bring it back up on the screen. It does what I'm talking about. It does it a little bit more convoluted, but I see it right here. So the first section is ASIO devices, and it says this is where you choose your ASIO device. Then it's the window devices, Windows slot to select the Windows I/O. And then the third row down is VIO, to enable virtual audio devices. So this is where you're creating, this is basically what the Mac software does. You're creating virtual devices here, so that with one interface, you can now share that one interface with multiple pieces of software, which is the problem Windows has. This is actually very good. So if I did not have a mixer that I have right now, this Soundcraft that has all these in and outs via USB, this is all you need. And I'm wondering how stable it is. Do you know anyone using it?
No, but I've seen reviews, and the guys love it on YouTube. But I don't know anyone using it. I never heard of it until a couple of days ago. I have a feeling it's been around maybe for about a year or two. I just don't know. I shouldn't even say that. I simply don't know. Yeah, I thought of the same thing. What about latency and all of that? In other words, what is the real world experience with this matrix? I don't know. But, the idea was that they wanted to come up with a mixer without having all the processing. That's just simply a mixer. And maybe they got the idea from the Macintosh version.
Yeah, very, very interesting. See, I have no need to run that now, but I wish I would have known about that. The main reason I ended with this Soundcraft, because I was just going to buy a 2-channel audio interface again, but I was looking into very expensive ones that had the best analog to digital conversion and the cleanest, most gain preamps. I wanted something that did like 70 dB of gain, so that there was headroom. And this Soundcraft, just the preamps, is the reason why I got it. Yeah.
That's something I noticed when going from the Focusrite to the Motu, that I had a lot more gain on this, which was nice because I was running out of gain with the dynamic mic. The SM58 and the Behringer have almost identical outputs. They were within a dB of each other. And I had to have the gain almost all the way up. With the Motu, I have quite a bit of reserve. So, it's nice, but it may not have as much as what you're talking about. But my point is simply being that I understand the point about having reserve. Of course, the Focusrite would never run an SM7 where the Motu does. In fact, Richie is running the Motu with the SM7 without his cloud lifter because he doesn't need it anymore. With the Focusrite, he needed it. And, like you said, with your mixer, you have a lot of clean gain. So that's all good. All right, Doug, listen, I think I'm going to get out of here, head on downstairs, but very interesting what you're doing. And it's nice that we have people that are doing this sort of thing, like you, and Steve is always coming up with new things on YouTube using, plugins and external equipment and different radios, and it's all very interesting. He's got something going up there that I came across the other night where he was using, I don't know if it was software, I didn't really quite dig into it, but he was demonstrating something where he was listening to two stations, one was on top of the other, and then he switched his device on and it virtually totally got rid of the station that was interfering. It was quite interesting. I'll have to look into that and see what that was about. But a lot of technology out there, and I guess there's a lot of ways to do a lot of different things. Anyway, Doug, we'll catch you next time, and thanks for the inputs tonight. So let me send it back to you for your final, any additional comments. KB2UKA, this is WB2RON, signing clear, 7-3.
All right, Ron, good to talk to you. I just sent you a video. It's a large one, so it's a Google Drive link. It's probably the last 10 minutes of the QSO, so you've got a little audio reference for you. This is from my stream, so this is what I'm hearing in my headphones, not the Kiwi. I'm going to back out of here as well. Mike, if you're still in there, I'll say 73 to you also. Ron, 73. And hope you guys enjoy the rest of the week. And it's going to get even colder the next few nights, so stay warm. WB2RON and 2LYM, this is KB2UKA, 7-3.
As long as you got a sleeping bag warmer, Doug. 7-3, Ron. We'll catch up with you fellas. N2LYM.
Okay, Mike, always a pleasure. 7-3, N2LYM, WB2RON is clear. Going QRT.
All right, YouTube. Yeah, it's getting cold here. Yeah, Mark, I'm just not a... who's that? Who just jumped in? Hold on.
See, what's up, bud?
How are you, brother?
Okay. Yeah, I'm not a... I was watching K1GMM with his G2 with the face, and I just don't see myself, bending over here like this and turning on. I just don't see it. Everything is in front of me. I have 3 big screens in front of me. I've got Thetis right in front of me here. I've got the live stream over here, and I've got the chat and my internet, my web browser over here on this screen. So I'm usually looking here more, so I should probably put the camera here, but I like the angle behind me with the camera there. So yeah, it's just a black box. That's all it is. And, functionality, it's the same as the 7000. I think Pure Signal works a little bit better. It's a little faster. And the audio, even before I changed my audio to the setup that I'm using now, when I had the analog rack going directly from the 7000 to the G2, there was a slight increase in the brightness. That must have something to do with the analog to digital converter that's in the G2. So I'm happy with it. You guys heard me give a whole explanation on how I may or may not run remote. Hopefully in the next, 6 months to a year, I won't have to do any of the stuff I said. It'll all just be built into the G2. That'll be the host, and we'll be able to run the G2s fully remote. All right, guys, I'm getting out of here. I hope you have a great night. Take care. I'm going to end the stream now. 7-3.